pose your questions and get the answers from the horse's mouth. They are here. And also just be part of this conversation on our social media platforms. We are live on all the MICT media pages as well as that of NBC. So please take part in this conversation and add your voice. We would want to hear from you. Ms. Ndikwetepo, what is the significance of choosing an appropriate census reference night, as Mrs. Mwazi has earlier alluded to? Does it relate to the population being, and also how does it relate to the population being counted? Sorry, should I?
Can you repeat again? Thanks.
What is the significance of choosing an appropriate census reference night? Okay. And how does it relate to the population that is being counted? I know Mrs. Mwazi earlier briefly touched onto it, but I want you to expound if anything was left.
Okay. It's critical to determine an appropriate census reference night because first of foremost, we are going to use this as a reference point for all the enumerations. So first, we need to identify a date or a time that all people could remember accurately. And then the Sundays become one of those days which is a bit quieter, everybody is likely to be home and all these things. So the finding of which date to be considered as a census reference night is really how to look into to say, when are we likely to have less movement within the populations? And again, it also has to be closer to a time or a date where people could able to recall, even if you come 2 weeks later for the enumeration, they can still remember what could have happened on that specific date. So those are the key factors one take into consideration when they're trying to determine a census reference night. All
right. Ms. Mwazi, would you like to expound on that? Is it
I think she did it very well. Okay. So especially I think the key, like she said, is really is whereby there's not much movement of the population because actually we want to count the people where they normally live. Yeah. So that's why we normally try to avoid holidays like December, Christmas, because people, they are visiting families, they are on holidays. So it's really, I think the key, she has already alluded to that. In fact, it's the less movement on the population. So actually people are counted where they normally live.
All right. Ms. Ndikwetepo, this one is for you too. Briefly, so the actual enumeration has actually commenced already on the 25th of November last year. Tell me, how is the progress and what challenges have manifested in the period between now and then?
Okay. The actual census enumeration started on the 25th of September 2023, and we are like in day 5 of actual enumeration today. So far, we have encountered challenges here and there, but most of them we're able to navigate through. But what is critical coming through is an aspect of farm gate being locked. So we are not having access to enumerate some of the farm areas, or maybe our people, the public is not willing to talk to the enumerator, for instance, to open up for the interviews and the actual enumerations. So that challenge of refusal is coming through much, and it could be attributed to the aspect that people are not well understanding the importance of the exercise, why are we doing the census enumerations, and so forth. So we are just urging the public to say, once you get an enumerator knocking at your door, open them, talk to them, and have the enumeration being completed. And for the commercial farmers where we have farm gate locked, they can just probably be in contact so that we set up some appointment and we'll be able to send an enumerator who will be able to do the enumerations.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know, Mazi, maybe you have more to
Can
highlight
I
any
add a
other
bit on the
challenge.
Would you like to?
Yes,
respond?
yes,
Okay,
please, thank
do
you.
so.
Just to add to what Ms. Dekwetepo said, we really had challenges for open the gates, but not only in the farms, even in towns here. The high world, I think the gated worlds community, we normally have gated communities. This is now the high class people. The same people who are doing the planning, that's the same people also who are refusing. They just peep through the gate, and I mean through the windows, and then they don't open, or they give instruction to their domestic worker, they say don't open anything. So we are really just appealing to the community, like Ndapa said, that is very critical. And then the same people who are not providing information is also the same people who are criticizing the government. The government, what are they doing? Maybe let me just also talk to briefly just to say the importance. The data is really to assist the government and other stakeholders who are responsible for planning to plan better. Like the census which we are conducting now is a digital special enabled census. In other words, we are going to give you the results, but we are also going to give you physically that is attached to the georeference. So if really the moment we get all the the data, accurate data for that matter, not only to say, yes, now you are coming to your household, I just give you anything so that you go. We cannot, the moment you give us wrong data, then the government, we also provide the government with wrong information to plan, which is not correct. So we just wanted, because I heard also actually somebody who was saying that, no, the census, why are we counting? You just need to say how many are we. It's more than counting. It's, that's why it's called, it's population and housing census. We count the population, but also we take stock how the population live in terms of households. Do they have decent household? Do they have access to services, schools, clean water? Do they have safe water? Do they have toilets, sanitation facilities? So it's more than that. That's what we thought. I just want to underline that we are collecting a lot of information, which is really help the government to plan better, and then also to allocate better resources where they are most needed. We talk about the SDGs. We talk about our national NDP, the National Development Plans. The government, we need, actually, I think the population, in fact, they forgot that the government have promised so many things. We are going to give you household, we are going to give you housing. Then from the census results, you can actually put the government to task. You said, you told us we are going to do this, but now the census is only saying A, B, C, D, what happened? So I thought I also just put to that side of the coin. The public can put the government to task.
All right. Indeed, I appreciate that. Now, Namibia, earlier on I mentioned that the actual enumeration commenced on the 25th of November 2022, which is the wrong date. The correct one is the 25th of September 2023. Sincerely apologize for the inconvenience that may have caused. All right, and then we continue. Ms. Ndukwetepo, what is the specific information that respondents are required to provide during the enumeration process? Which type of questions should I expect during the process of census?
Thank you so much for that questions, and I think it will be able to also help the public out there on what to expect in terms of the questions. The census, as Mwazi have alluded to, collect a lot of information for the populations and for the housing characteristics as well. So it will start with the demographic information about your name, your age, your sex, marital status, and all this information for the individuals. Then it went on further to ask information about the educations, the labor force, either you are employed, where are you employed, and the average income in grouped categories. So you give a range to say, on average, my salary is on this range. And then we also ask information about sport activities, information communication technologies, the access, the type of cell phone or phone the individual owns. We also ask information about, for women, we ask about the fertilities, the number of children they have ever given birth, and how many are still alive, how many have died, information about who assisted in your last live birth, all this relating to the birth history of a woman. And then we further ask questions on mortality, death in the household in the past 12 months. So we want to know how many people died in the specific household in the past 12 months, and then we ask brief information about them, their age, their sex, just to monitor the issue of mortalities, adult and child and infant mortalities, which are the key indicator for development. And then the last component of the questionnaire asks information about the housing, where we ask the type of the household it is. We ask the material made for constructions. We ask the toilet facility the household use. Where do they get the water, the source of water they are using for cooking and drinking. We ask information about the source of energy they use for lighting and cooking. We've also asked information about agriculture, the number of livestock or the crop farming, just to get an understanding how the population is doing in terms of engagement in the agricultural activities. So in a nutshell, that is how the questionnaire is. Thank you.
All right, briefly put. Namibia, as earlier mentioned, we are live on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are at Ministry of Information and Communications Technology Republic of Namibia. We are also live on our YouTube channel. You can stream us live there. And then at this juncture, I would also just like to invite the public to make calls. You can now call into the studio, and the call-in number is 061 400 397. The call-in number in the studio is 061 400 397. We are awaiting your calls, air your questions, and you can also leave your comments on our social media platforms, and we will. I will give the questions to the experts in the studio to respond to. Ms. Mwazi, in case of the absence of the head of the household, what other alternatives, or who else can answer the questions that the enumerator is looking for?
Thank you for that question, very critical. We already picked up that there are some enumerators who are asking the children questions. So in fact, if there's in the absence of the head of the household, we normally ask the interviewers to identify any member of the household who's adult enough and then also knowledgeable about the aspects of the household. You know that we are going to ask so many questions for the households, for the individuals. If you ask like a 10-year-old child or a 5-year-old, they have no clue what's happening. So that's why then we totally informed our enumerators to avoid asking the children, because then in the absence of sometimes the parents or the head of the household could be maybe traveled or could be at work. Then we normally have a callback card, just to say that yes, I visit your household, and then please give me a call or I'll come back when. So that we make sure that we talk to the right people. Like I said, we need quality and accurate information. And then we can only get that if we get it from the adults and then also the person who are knowledgeable about what's happening in their respective households. Very critical. If the person comes and then they said, we have even sent back some. Those who we had that they just find the child and then they start asking, we say, no, go back. That's not how it's supposed to be done, because we want accurate information. If also the household picked up that, they are welcome, in fact, just to call the office to say that I had the interviewers were here, they just asked my 10-year-old, can they please come back? We are willing to come back so that we get accurate information.
All right. Ms. Nikotepa, would you like to expound more on that one?
I think it was accurate report.
All right. Now, what should I do if I am not comfortable with the enumerator assigned to my house? Can I request for another one? Or? What is the process?
Yeah, let me talk to that a little bit. In fact, how, like I said, when we go back to the census cartography, with, the one I was referring to, the census mapping, we have already determined how many enumeration areas. Enumeration area is, in fact, just a unit which we give to the enumerator to count. So we have already known how many we need, and then we have assigned. So everybody already, they assigned their enumeration areas. But in case whereby maybe you don't feel comfortable to be interviewed, you are welcome actually to, these interviewers have team supervisors. You are welcome to say, contact the team supervisors or contact our office. But I just want also to assure the public that all enumerators, they are fully trained. They know exactly what's supposed to happen. They know the content of the questionnaire. I'm sure they will be able to provide or to interview you as expected. So, but if there's really a specific need, you are welcome to call the team supervisor or contact the office, and then we can also just explain more. But please just cooperate with those who are assigned. They are trained to do so. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Ndikwatepo, how do you strike a balance between gathering comprehensive information and yet respecting the privacy of the respondents during the enumeration?
Can you repeat that again, please?
Okay, the question is, how do you strike the balance between gathering comprehensive data and respecting the privacy of the respondents during the enumeration process?
Okay. The statistic agency is being governed by the Statistic Act. And one of the section of the Statistic Act is compelling the ensuring confidentiality of the data being collected. So when we are doing the data collections, which is quite comprehensive and pertaining to personal information, we are, first and foremost, the enumerators and all the field staff has signed oath of secrecy, which outline them to make sure that the information they are collecting, they are going to treat it with confidentiality. They are not allowed to diverge this information to the next persons, because once they do that, they are contravening the Statistic Act. So when we are collecting the information, at the end of the day, we are going to publish or use these informations at the aggregated level in such a way that it will not come back to you as an individual or as a household, or any other person will be able to pinpoint out to say this information belongs to these households. So it has to be treated with that level of confidentiality and anonymity. So, and then secondly, when we are publishing the information, it's already have to be anonymized and aggregated to that level. But also, when we are analyzing the data or we are collecting all these data, it has to be treated what we call anonymizations, where your information, the personal name, is being removed. It won't be part of the data sets, so that you won't be able to take it back to the person.
All right. Thank you. Now, back to you, Ms. Ndikwatepo.
Yes.
Okay. For your enumerators, how do you address the safety concerns that comes with this challenging environments and the staff are working in potentially like, for example, as earlier alluded to, the farms, some of the farms are game farms, and they probably can be lions or whatever, but not only that, even here in some dangerous zones in the city, within the city, how do you address the safety concerns of your enumerators?
Can I give it to Mwazi, please?
Oh, Ms. Mwazi.
Okay, yes, let me handle that. It's a challenge. It's a challenge as we speak. We have already, our enumerators, they are really at risk. Number one, they are carrying the gadgets, so they become the target. Maybe first of all, I just also want to inform those who are targeting these gadgets. Even you snatch it out, you cannot use it anywhere. It's fully just for data collection. There's nothing else. It's simply just for data collection. If you please just leave those gadgets alone, if you may. And then we have also the dog bites. We have also, especially in the city, and then the dogs are just roaming in the streets. We also ask the public if they can also just lock up their dogs. We have a lot of people who already have beaten by the dogs. We need them to continue with the census. And then we have even those, some people already pointing guns at our enumerators. They are being harassed. It's unfortunate. And then just like the Vice President was saying that these enumerators, they are carrying out national duties. They are collecting the information for the government, for the Republic of Namibia to plan better for its inhabitants. We are also working closely with the police, the Namibian police, the city police, or the security clusters.
Okay, all right. You can next.
Okay. So I just want to say that we also like the police, both the city police and Namibian police, they are patrolling around, they are visible, just to ensure that our enumerators, not only our enumerators, even our respondents, they are also safe. If also the respondents, they feel that, like you were saying, they don't feel comfortable, maybe not only to be interviewed, but also they feel not comfortable with the people who are entering their households. Actually, we are in arrangement with the police, they can be escorted. And then because of the confidentiality, the police waits for outside, and then just to ensure that, yes, these people are coming from the Namibian Statistics Agency. So that's really, and then also we just also want the public out there to support our enumerators, ensure that they are safe, provide support. If you feel that maybe the person is walking on the street and then you see maybe the person is being attacked, help them to call the police, just assist wherever we can, because really is for the national exercise.
Okay. A follow-up question for you, Ms. Mwazi. For somebody that is really, for a household that is really refusing to just give this information, what measures are in place from NSA to ensure that the information or the household provide this critical information anyway?
Okay, Mr. Kwetepo referred to the Statistics Act. That's a legal framework which we are working with. And then the Statistics Act has given all the authority to through the Statistics Agency, the enumerators, to enter all the premises. And then if you fail to answer to the questions, or if you fail to open your door, in fact, there's a fine. As per the Act, either you are fined at most 50,000 or 5 years or more imprisonment, or could be both. I always urge the public that why you want to go to that problem? Why can't you just provide information and then you are just like, but at least if you are contravening that act, the government, the SG, the Statistician General, has actually given the power by the act. He can impose penalties. So that's why that even where we are here today, we just want to educate the public to understand the importance of the census, for them to participate. But yes, we have that. We have already those who are start refusing out there. Please just get the message that we can be fined. For those who are already doing so, we actually already prepare. We can act. We consult you. If you don't want to cooperate, then we left no choice but to fine you as per the act.
All right. Okay. Whilst there, Mrs. Mwazi. What emergency protocols and contact numbers are in place? I think I earlier asked, can we maybe just have that number for the public to have in an event a need arises?
Yeah, I think it's really our normal, I think if there's any other numbers, we can also provide later. Okay. But we have our office, that is 061, that is a code for window, 431-3200. That's the number for the Statistics Agency. And then we have also the email, the census info at the NSA, which you can be able to provide your information to send your consent. Otherwise, you can also just call us. You can also go to our social media. We are very active on social media. You can also post your questions. I think we have also, you can be able to be assisted. So just reach out if you need assistance, or even not only for emergency, but even that you feel that you are not counted. Okay. Please just reach out to say that, yes, it's now the 7th, it's now the 10th of October. Where are we? Nobody came to my household, I'm not counted. Maybe while we are there, I also want just to add that sometimes you might not be home when people are being counted. So when you come, before you call us, please ask first your members of the household. Maybe the enumerator has been already counted, because if they are office and then they know, they are knowledgeable, they have already provided your information as well. So yes, but you are welcome to contact our office. If there's any new number, like a toll-free, that one we can also be able to share it immediately. I know we are working on one. So once it's ready, then we can also be able to share with the public so that they can contact us.
Okay. In the meantime, can I humbly just request you to please repeat the contact number for NSA that you've just mentioned now?
Yeah, it's 061, the area code,
Yes.
431 3200. That is, go to the reception. And then when you go to the reception, they know exactly, when you say census, they know exactly whom to transfer to. And then we have also our, what we call regional census coordinators. I think after this talk, we are also going just to tell our media, our publicity officers to just put on our social media, if you are in commerce, whom to contact, if you are in Erongo, whom to contact. Actually, we have also their numbers as well. We are going to make that also readily available to the public.
All right. Now, we have a caller on the line, Hendrik from the Zambezi region. Good morning, sorry.
Yes, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Hendrik.
Yes, please.
What would your contribution be for this morning?
Yeah, the contribution, am I off air now?
You're live on air.
Oh, okay. My contribution is with regard to the statistics that were conducted way back 2001 and 2002, whereby when the National Planning Commission intervened to assess the situation, Zambezi region was found to be one of the poorest regions in the Namibian nation, whereby we could also foresee and read in the articles that some of the drought relief food were returned to the center, to the head office, because nobody is supposed to have benefited. So how do you look at that perspective, whereby people never benefited, but they were counted and they were questioned as to what their needs supposed to be?
Hendrik, if I heard you correctly, you want to know, you are referring back to the 2001-2002 census, whereby the Zambezi region was counted as, identified as one of the poorest regions in the country, and drought relief never really reached those that were counted there. Is that what you are saying?
Of course, that's what I'm trying to articulate now.
Okay.
Sure.
So now you want, going forward, what solution you want to know what the NSA has in place to mitigate such scenarios in repeating or reoccurring?
Sure. That's what I'm trying to mean.
Okay.
That there has to be something seen or as a result of such questionnaires that the enumerators are posing to people.
Okay, so you are just saying they were counted, but they never really got their food, so it could have been diverted to a different...
Of course, that's what I'm trying to talk about. They were counted, they were asked questions, and now the National Planning Commission intervened to try to mitigate the program. That's what I'm trying to talk about now.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. I will. I am hoping that the officials in the studio have taken note of your question, and they will respond to it. You can go back to your TV set, and they will respond to your question. Thank you so much for your contribution.
You're welcome, madam.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, Ms. Mwazi. We have that question from Hendrik from the Zambezi region. He is just alluding to the fact that the 2001-2002 census, when it was carried out, the Zambezi region was identified as one of the poorest regions in the country, and they people were counted there and they were supposed to be getting drought relief, but they never really got their drought relief. In his view, it most probably was diverted to a different region, or somebody else got it, but not the rightful people. Now his question is, what mitigating factors are in place to ensure that the reoccurrence of 2000 and or what occurred in 2001-2002 census does not reoccur in the 2023 census?
It's a very tricky question, but let me attempt on it.
Okay.
Maybe for me to start with, maybe I need to give the differences between offices and responsibilities. The Namibia Statistics Agency is responsible to collect the data. And then once we now collect all those data, we package them, and then we pass them, we disseminate them, and then we pass them on now to the other offices which are responsible for, like drought relief. We don't deal with drought relief at all. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's under the Office of the Prime Minister. I'm speaking, and I hope it's not changed. So what we do then, we provide the data, we go to the public, they give us the information in terms of their needs, we compile the data, and then we pass them now to the offices. For example, then such information, maybe the Office of the Prime Minister probably have used then the data which we collected, and then they're supposed now to provide services which is required. So once the data is disseminated, we are not responsible for that. I thought I just clarified that. So I'm not in the position to explain what transpired. So actually, then the relevant office probably will be able to answer to what happened. Unfortunately, we are not able to provide such answer from the Statistics Agency. We just provide information for policy making, decision making, and then other responsible department or ministries take over. That's all what I can say at this moment.
Okay. Now, Ms. Ntukwetapo,
Yes, ma'am.
what hours or days of the week can one expect the enumerators to visit their house?
Okay, thank you so much for the questions. And what hours do we expect the enumerator to visit the household? It ideally is during the day when the sun out there, we can able to see who is who. From 7 a.m. until probably 7 p.m., not later than that. However, there will be special arrangement, for instance, in terms of where the enumerator has made an appointment with a specific household and say, just come at 8 or 8:30, I'll be home in the afternoon, in the evening, and then they'll do interviews. So those special cases can be there, depending on the arrangement, what the enumerator has made with the specific household. But overall, the moving from one house to the another house, the enumerator is expected to knock at your door during the day between 8 and 7:30 in the evening.
All right. We are slowly coming to the end of our discussion for this morning. Ms. Mwazi, maybe you can please elaborate a little bit more on this one. What arrangements are in place for me to be counted if I'm not home during the time that the enumerators have visited my house? Or maybe I have 7 to 7, I mean Monday to Sunday week schedule, and I'm only back around the maybe 1900 hours onward. What plans can be made for me then to be counted?
All right. I think that also tallies in nicely with the hours which you were asking about, especially in the urban areas and the cities, and we find that it's challenging to find the respondents at home during the hours which Ms. Ntukwetapo was just alluding to. And then so what we have done then is like in the city, then you find that also the people also come to your household when it's still visible, when they still be able to see in the street. It's also not safe out there. So then, but what we normally do then, when we come to your household and then we do not find you, and there's no one else, if there's somebody, let's say for the sake of the children, sometimes the children, they know exactly the movement of the household. They might tell you that yeah, we are this many, but the person is only coming 7 o'clock. That's why sometimes we come back after 7. Or maybe it's a teacher, the teacher is only coming after 1 or comes after 3 o'clock. So we normally come around that time, is also guided either by the neighbors. Sometimes we also ask the neighbors whether, but sometimes the city, they don't even know their neighbors. It's very hard, or there are high walls. You won't even be able to see anyone. So that's why then in the city, you find that in the urban areas, you find that we might work until late, but we work as per their appointments, like Mr. Dikwetepo was talking about. So we leave a callback card that we've been at the household, and then you leave the name of the enumerator, and then also the contact details of the enumerator. Then we are also just appealing to the community, so to the household, to say that, especially the type of job you do, if you can just contact the enumerator, and then you can set up an appointment. I think that's the way of doing it. You can say that I'm normally home, and then what we normally also then do to to mitigate that, so that we also finish our work on time, we also then come around during the weekends, because normally during weekends you find a lot of people at home. That's why that even during the enumeration it covers 2 weekends, and then we also include the mop-up period just in case we are not able to cover everyone. Like I was saying earlier, if you really find that maybe your neighborhood, everybody's more or less counted, it's only you, you are welcome to contact us, and then we can send the enumerators to come and count you.
All right. Now, Namibia, that is all the time we had for today's discussion. Please be sure to follow us on our MICT and social media platforms and websites, so you can fall part of our conversations. You can reach out to us directly. And yeah, that's all the time we have for you today. Please be sure to view now. We are going to bring you a video on how best you can identify the Namibia Statistics Agency's enumerators. Thank you. Until next time, goodbye.